Hello YouTube, Harper was the newest hunter that arrived at the game, and if you're unsure what to do and if you should summon for her, you can always check out my latest YouTube video where I go over her abilities and what type of artifacts you're looking for and what type of stats you want on her artifact. But this time we're going to be talking about the other hunter that's coming to the game and the one that in most of the events that feature Harper, and it's Charlotte. So how about we go check what Charlotte does. There we have Charlotte's first look. We see that she's also a Dark Hunter, and she seems to be some sort of caster type hunter. Most likely going to be some sort of support from the symbol we see here, or maybe a buffer, or just a damage dealer that casts a ton of spells. So let's see what the skills does. Her basic attack scales off defense, interesting. There aren't that many defense scaling units, so it's nice to have another unit that likes defense substats and main stats. Now you don't need to get rid of all of your defense artifacts. And as a dark element hunter, you had Charlotte with Harper, and you have Silvermane Bayek. Maybe they're going to be the new strongest dark team, but let's see. Her core just a dark damage scales of defense. It seems to deal a ton of damage, so let's see what her kit does to see if it's focused on core attack or not. A first basic skill, Iceless Dance, deals a decent amount of damage as well. At level 1 it's already a ton of damage. Deals dark damage, and when the doll explodes it deals additional damage equal to 250% of Charlotte's defense. So she throws a doll and then it explodes, dealing extra damage. So it's a two-type explosion that deals damage in two different instances. The first one deals the most damage, but the second one still deals a decent amount. For her second basic skill, Harper Help, Charlotte climbs on the head of a Harper-shaped doll to attack enemies. When Rhaenyra can use the controls to control its trajectory. Okay, so you can ride the doll and control it. That's interesting. That's fun. She deals a massive amount of damage. That's some ultimate scaling style abilities, so it's going to deal a ton of damage from that skill alone. Let's see if she cares about ulti or she's going to be a skill based hunter. Her special skill, when you're playing as Sung Jin Ho, she deals a ton of damage as well, and it's basically the same skill as in her first basic skill. It's a 2 instance damage skill, so if you just care about damage, this is a decent support alongside Mirei. They're most for damage, not for utility, and maybe there's going to be sometimes when you want damage focused abilities on your supports instead of just buffing, but let's see. Her intro skill, when you switch into her, she deals a ton of damage on all her skills. Usually the intro skill doesn't deal that much damage, but she deals a decent amount of damage with intro. But with all intro skills, it just enters and deals damage, nothing special. Her ultimate, take this, Charlotte hugs a set of Charlotte, Harper and Isla dolls before using them as strong explosives. Damage, again, she deals a ton of damage from all her scaling abilities. And it's just a big chunk of damage ultimate. Let's see your passive and how does the passive change your kit, and that's a lot of text. When the user uses dash, that dash becomes a charging skill and the direction it goes can be controlled. Okay, that's a really interesting set of skills. You can control the dash and it becomes a charging skill, interesting. When this dash attack mode is active, the user gains a shield equal to 20% of Charlotte's defense as long as the dash is active. So she's going to basically give you a shield that scales off defense while you're charging. It makes sense. When you're charging, you're basically standing still and taking damage, so a shield makes sense. Of course, since you're scaling on defense, you're going to have a massive amount of defense and tankiness. So while you're charging, you're probably now taking basically no damage. Take this becomes available after using tier 3 basic attacks 2 times, instead of following the normal rules of charging the power gauge, using skills and having no cooldown. Okay, so her ultimate, so she doesn't really have an ultimate, she doesn't have an ultimate gauge, so there goes the second one of the artifact sets, but instead she gets the ultimate after using the tier 3 basic attack 2 times. The tier 3 is basically stage 3 damage, so you have to attack 6 times without stopping the chain, and once you do that you can use your ultimate, and there's a 40 seconds cooldown because you don't really have a cooldown on your ultimate since it doesn't have a power gauge. And when you use the ultimate, it increases the damage of her second skill by 50% for 10 seconds. The user's critical hit damage stat increases equal to 10% of the increased damage stat. Wait, so this is probably the most broken unit we have to date. The user's critical hit damage stat increases equal to 10% of the increased damage stat. So if you have damage increase in your substats, all the damage increase will go into crit damage. That's absurd, and it's going to make her deal a massive amount of damage. She's going to get crit damage from her boots and from substats, but if you hit the damage increase in all your substats, and don't forget, critical hit damage you can only get on accessories, but damage increase you can get on every artifact you have, so the more damage increase, the more crit damage you have as well. So it's an overall buff to all of her damage. And she already has insane scaling abilities, and the fact that she can use her basic to charge her ultimate instead of having the usual power gauge and the cooldown, the usual cooldown, you just have the basic attacks, charge your ultimate, and once you use your ultimate, you have increased damage on your second basic skill. So as I'm seeing, you want to use your dash. You want to basic attack, and then when you use your ultimate, you use your second basic skill. So you want to use your ultimate before you use your second basic skill, instead of using the skills before your ultimate. Let's just see what her first copy gives her, since most people can get the first basic copy from her either with luck or by getting her on the standard banner later on, so it could be worth it to go over it. When the users uses tier 3 basic attacks one time, take this becomes available. Cooldown 20 seconds. When the user uses Isla Dance, it increases dark damage by 15% for 20 seconds. Her first copy makes her completely busted. And why? Because it reduces the amount of basics you have to do by half, and also the cooldown to use her ultimate by half. With this, you lose her ultimate every 20 seconds after dealing 3 basic attacks, which makes her the most broken hunter we probably have. We have to test her to make sure it's that broken, but just from the first copy and her passive, she seems like she's going to be the biggest damage dealer we have so far. And we can see by going to hae-in. My hae-in second basic skill is at level 7, and it has a 2466 scale, and their ultimate at level 10 has a 4000% scale. Going back to Charlotte, we can see her first basic skill at level 1 is already as big as my hae-in's skill, and her ultimate is also as big as my hae-in's ultimate. If this is how she seems like to be working, she's going to be completely busted. At level 10, her ultimate is probably going to be close to 5000% or even more. It's absurdity the damage she's going to do. And what kind of artifacts would you want now that we know her skills? Well, first and foremost, the one that doesn't care about your scale, the Burning Curse set, which will increase her damage if you have the 8-piece set by 50%. So you'll probably want the Burning Curse on her. It's the most overall set for every hunter that's not breaking or supporting. Main damage dealers will want the 8 set effect for maximum damage, but you can also use other sets. The new Crimson Knight's boots, it's also a decent set for her because it increases your defense, and the 4 set effect increases your defense even more, so it's probably one of the better sets for her since she doesn't have that many options. One set that's probably going to be really good on her, even though the 4 set effect doesn't really matter because of the cooldown. The fact that she increases the ultimate skill by 25% is amazing, and you can probably make a 2-piece set with 2-piece Burning Curse, since you either go 2 or 8. 4-piece just gives you a nice fail-safe with your HP. So if you can't get 8-piece curse, you can go 2-piece curse, 2-piece one hit kill, since you don't really need cooldown for her ultimate, since it's tied to her basic attacks and her and it has a different cooldown, which makes it the probably the better pair for her. It's a 2-piece one hit kill and 2-piece burning curse, and of course the most generic set for any hunter that can crit, the toughness set. You can go with 4-piece toughness for the increased critical hit rate and critical hit damage, and just go the safe choice. Everyone hunter wants crit rate, and the fact that she deals so much damage, you want to make sure you crit. So going with the 4-piece toughness could be the best choice. For accessories, there's really not that many options since she's defense scaling. So you can go with the curse set because of the fact that you can go 8-piece curse. Or you can go with the Executioner. Since you're going to deal a ton of damage, you're dealing even more once the HP changes to 70%. So once the enemy is at 70% or less HP, you deal more damage. It's a generic set. The new Sylph's Blessing is also decent if you only use her for elemental weak damage enemies, but considering the damage she does, you're probably going to take her to every fight you can if you need damage, because she seems to be going to do way too much damage. So this is probably better in a support than her itself, but you can still use it. Outstanding ability, it's probably the easiest one to use because you don't really care about your mana. You should always be above the 40% MP if you're using your skills and switching. You're probably going to attack, use her skill, her first basic skill, use her ultimate. Once you use her ultimate, you go again for the second basic skill because it has increased damage. And once that's over, you're probably going to switch because you're not really going to have anything else to do with her unless you have if you have the first copy, you might stay with her longer because she can get her ultimate back in 20 seconds, and while you're doing your basic attacks and your skills, you're basically shortening that time until your ultimate is back again. So in that case, if you have a first copy, this might be a bit sus, but you can use the hunter that we got that buffs your mana, and with that hunter you don't really care about mana. She's going to always have mana. And of course, just like the other one, you can also just go 4-piece Berserker, get hit in the beginning to gain to get the force set effect and have the damage increase, help you deal more damage. But overall, it's better just focus on using ones that don't require you to basically die to have damage increase. And yeah, she seems like she's going to be completely busted, and probably the best pick you can have right now, since it basically doesn't require you to have anything special. Just get her. If you can get her first copy, it seems like it's going to be really busted, so at least one copy if you're lucky, or if you can get it, it should be worth it to go and just go to town on the bosses with that much damage she's dealing. Yeah, that's going to be it for Charlotte. Once I can get her under weapon and try out in game, I'll make sure to make a video on it and showcase her damage and see if it really was that strong or not. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.